Hey guys, Caleb here from CDBS Studios, and welcome back to another entry in my series of ranking all of the Ninjago seasons based on increasingly dumber criteria to avoid actually telling you guys what I think about the seasons. So, we've been on a journey so far ranking the Ninjago seasons by a variety of different topics, and right now we're on kind of a trend of ranking the Ninjago seasons based on how they use each of the main ninja. We've already talked about Kai and Jay, and after looking over some of the comments on the Kai video, it seems that the unanimous next ninja you guys wanted me to cover was in fact Cole, the Black Earth ninja. And yeah, Cole was definitely a character that I found very interesting because he kind of falls directly in the center of Kai and Jay. Whereas I mentioned in that video, Jay kind of fell into this category of he got maybe a couple seasons to be very prominent in, but other than that, he was very much just there, while as Kai had almost a plot line every single season. And Cole is kind of right in the middle of that, where there's a lot of seasons that feature him in pretty prominent plot lines, or there's seasons where he just is there because he's one of the main ninja. And we're going to see some very different opinions going through this. So, we're going to be ranking all 21 Ninjago seasons today, and I figured that I would also clarify right now, yes, technically this is the first entry in the series that I'm making after new Ninjago content has dropped. For those of you that don't know, Netflix went ahead and have dropped season 4 of Dragon's Rising. Kind of. If you're aware of how Netflix likes to do Dragon's Rising seasons, for some reason, they release it in 2 chunks where they do the first 10 episodes and then they wait and do the next 10 episodes later. So as of the time of me recording this video, they have dropped those first 10 episodes, but that didn't really seem fair to rank that season based on only having half of it. And also, I hate to spoil it, but I really did not like Cole's use in Dragon's Rising Season 4. So it would have been close to, if not last place, if I counted it. But in the end, I figured it was just kind of unfair to rank only half of a season, because there's a slight chance that it could change later down the road if there's another with the next half coming out. So Dragon's Rising Season 4 should count itself lucky that I'm pretending I do not see it. Other than that, though, we are ranking the other 21 complete Ninjago seasons based on how they use Cole. And much like I keep clarifying, this video is not based on how each season, how much screen time each season gives Cole. It's how much use each season gives him. Does he get a prominent plot line? Does that plot line make sense? Is he just there because he's one of the main ninja? That's kind of what we're looking at today. And so, we're going to go ahead and rank all 21 Ninjago seasons based on how they use the character of Cole, the Earth Ninja. And last place for the worst season in terms of using Cole is, say it with me everybody, The Island! Oh man, this season just drives me insane with its use of the characters. Once again, we have another case where basically there is nothing to talk about with the island because, I mean, Cole is there, he's present, he gets some interactions with Kai and some talking about Nia and that, but other than that, like, what else do you guys want me to go over? Like, there's nothing else to talk about. I swear the island drives me insane with how it uses its characters, because if you're not Lloyd, Twitchy Tim, or Jay, you basically get nothing to do. And yes, I know that it's kind of a rough critique because of the fact that it's only 4 episodes, but we're going to see with other seasons coming up that, or we've seen in other seasons in these videos, 4 episodes can work for certain characters. It just, you do nothing with Cole in this special. So the island gets to rank last place because there's literally nothing to talk about. There might be other seasons shortly coming up that I hate more, but I could not deny that they at least gave me something to work with. So they get to rank above the absolute absurdity that is the fact that Cole is literally not used in the island. This right here is what I was talking about when I said there might be a season coming up that I hate more, but I had to admit it gave me something to work with. Rebooted Season 3 drives me literally insane because of how much I hate the use of Cole in this season. First off, I guess something that I can say positively is that they have him part of the teacher arc in the early episodes when the ninja are running that small academy that was pretty, like, niche in that. And Cole gets to later participate in the hack attack, which is one of my favorite action sequences in all of Ninjago. It's just really well done, and I like Cole in that. They go into the Digiverse at one point, and Cole gets to be gold, but it's kind of lackluster and doesn't really go anywhere. And then this was also the season where Cole gets his elemental power for the first time. So, all of that is pretty cool. But unfortunately, it all falls apart when you realize that the main plot that Cole gets in Season 3 is the stupid love triangle between him, Nia, and Jay. Why did the writers ever think this was a good plot line? I swear I'm going to find them and ask them why they thought this was a good idea, because dear God, I hate it so much. So basically, if you haven't seen my Jay video, basically for Season 3, they came up with this really stupid plot line where they're gonna put this love triangle thing between Jay and Cole fighting for Nia's affection, when it's very plainly obvious that they're just doing it for basic drama, because, like, Cole never has any feelings for Nia outside of a couple scenes this season, and then later, and then, like, never again, pretty much. And it's pretty clear that, like, Jay and Nia is always going to be what the end game is, and it's like this plotline has so much negativity pulsating through it, because, like, the premise of how they try to make it work is so stupid, because Nia steps on this technology device that analyzes that Cole is apparently her perfect match, and then means Nia now is torn between, is she in love with Jay or Cole, which is, like, so stupid. And then they have, once Jay and Cole find out, they're just fighting for the entire season for literally no reason. And it just makes for one of the worst plot lines this show ever cooked up. And it literally is so bad. Like, I don't know why this plot line's in the show. And it makes me hate this season every time I rewatch it, because I have to endure multiple episodes of this. At least pretty much after this season, they pretty much get rid of Cole being part of this love triangle thing they did with Jay and Nia for like 3 more seasons. But, like, at least Cole got dropped from it pretty quick because they realized it was stupid. But it still means that I have to endure it in this season, and it gets to rank low because it's a terrible plot line. It's one of the worst uses of Cole in any of these seasons, and it makes me hate Rebooted so much. But at least Rebooted gave me something to work with, instead of the island literally just dragging Cole along for the journey. So, yay! So I know I've previously praised March of the Oni for being pretty good at using its characters, even though it was only 4 episodes, because it actually has come high on a lot of my character rankings, and therefore resulted in lots of stuff to go on. Unfortunately, going through this marathon, yeah, Cole is kind of the one ninja that kind of doesn't get used here in March of the Oni. I mean, of course, he's there. He gets his drill from Season 2 back for some random reason, which I've never understood why they did that. It's kind of just hollow reason to bring a vehicle back. And then they have Cole go with the rest of the ninja, and they have him kind of help out Jay with his proposal for Nia plotline, even though most of the focus is on Kai and not really mostly at all on Cole, but he's there. He's definitely part of that plot line. The only real thing most people know about Cole from this season, and the only real thing he does, is they have this plot line where during one of their fights, where Nia accidentally puts the bounty in reverse, and it causes Cole to fall off the bounty into this dark cloud. And it's supposed to be a big, like, emotional moment, because Cole is lost in this cloud that we've known kind of has killed most of the people. So it's supposed to come off as, like, oh, yay, we have plot lines and stuff. But then this just turns into a hollow 1 episode motivation, because, like, somehow Cole survives, which I don't know how he does at all. And then he shows up for the final battle with the ninja for, like, the last little bit of it. Yeah, I was kind of a little bit sad that this season came in so low, because I've previously used it to showcase how you can do good with characters in 4 episodes instead of what the island's done with most of our characters. But unfortunately, I don't get to do that comparison today, because, I mean, at least it's better than the island, because Cole actually has something going for him, but it's really nothing special, and it means I can't really rank the season too high. Sorry. Next up, we have Seabound, and during Seabound, Cole's main plot line that he is in is the fact that he kind of falls into the same category as Kai, where he sits out of the underwater mission that the other characters go on, and he just then kind of just sits back with playing video games with Kai and Ray. And then halfway through the season, the ninja realize they need to get the medallions, so Cole, Kai, and Wu go on an adventure to get them, and it doesn't really result in much more from that side of the story because the villain gets the amulets almost instantly, and then Cole rejoins the rest of the ninja for the final battle of the season, and we get to see him at Nia's funeral kind of console Jay. But other than that, Cole doesn't get a lot. And I know a lot of people commented this on my Kai video, but I understand that, yes, Cole is probably a ninja that's not going to be super useful on the underwater mission because his power's Earth, which is not going to be useful underwater. So I guess that works, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that he gets a free pass for basically not being in the season. And it means that I don't really have a lot to work with, and I don't really think gets to rank high. But, I mean, it's a fine use of Cole, and it definitely doesn't anger me as much as Kai's use did in that video. But at the same time, it just didn't give me much to work with, so I can't really rate it too highly, unfortunately. Season 7, aka Hands of Time, is definitely one of those seasons where it kind of really does feel like they didn't really know what to do with Cole this season. Because the main premise that they run with for Cole this season is the fact that he just became a human again after being a ghost for the previous 2 seasons. So he just became a normal human. He has the new powers of being the magma hands. And the whole premise they keep running with is the fact that Cole keeps struggling with his new body and his powers aren't really working correctly, which was fine originally, but they just kind of play this joke into submission, especially by the back half. I really got tired of it. So, and when you're really only using a character as a running gag, there's only so much you can do with him. And there are some nice stuff, especially with Jay, and I really like that Cole at the end gets to have a pretty good plotline with Jay, where he gets to rescue the rest of the workers in the factory that Crux and Acronix have. But other than that, this is definitely one of those cases where Cole kind of got dragged along for the adventure, because other than that, he just kind of doesn't do much. He's just there for the running gag of his hands no longer working. And it just leads to the fact that, he's just not used that often in Hands of Time. So I guess this one can't rank highly either. But at the same time, again, is one of the first cases where it doesn't have a plot line that either doesn't exist or makes me angry, so that's why it gets to rank higher than the other ones we've already covered. Skybound suffers from a lot of the same issues, where the main thing that Cole learns this season is that due to his new ghost body, he can turn invisible, and that's kind of the thing they really only do with him, because they rarely use his new invisibility powers, I realized on this rewatch, because they use it in the first couple episodes when they're running away from the government, and then in the later episode, Cole uses it to sneak onto the bounty, to sneak on an Nauticon ship to plant the venom, and that's really the only times they ever use the invisibility power, which feels like there's some other instances that would make it so much more useful, and they just never use it. Other than that, I do like that they use Cole again as Jay's best friend, which is what he's kind of usually showcased as throughout the show. And I really like they use him as the guy that Jay is constantly talking to about his problems with Nia, and also kind of being his moral anchor, which I kind of liked. And I also like that they constantly paired up Lloyd and Cole this season. I thought that was a really fun dynamic they got to explore. It might have just been because both of them now looked green, so it might have just been good for colors, but whatever. But other than all that, Cole also has the same problem that most Skybound people have, where he gets captured and then he just kind of gets erased from the season. But also in the same vein as Kai, apart from the couple things I mentioned, Cole is also just kind of there, dragged along for the adventure until he gets captured and then erased from the season. So, I mean, Skybound definitely is not the worst thing we've covered so far, but at the same time, it just feels like they could have done a little more. But I do definitely like what they did with him this season, so it can't really rank any lower. Season 2, Legacy of the Green Ninja, is kind of one of those cases in Ninjago where it really feels like they didn't have a full picture on what they wanted to do with Cole anymore. Because without spoiling without spoiling the earlier seasons too much, but Cole used to be portrayed as the team's leader, and basically means that he was always the one giving the orders and was always kind of the anchor of the ninja team. But this is the season where Lloyd starts to transition into that position, which means that it's mainly Wu or Lloyd that's leading the team, meaning Cole is kind of just following orders most of the time, which is kind of sad. Other than that, though, there's nothing really prominent to note, however, throughout the season, as during the filler arc, the main stuff we get is he's one of the ninja training Lloyd, fights with the other ninja, all of the mega weapon stuff, and after that, we transition to the Dark Island portion of the season, and there's nothing really to note here on the Dark Island side of things. Like, he goes there with the ninja, he gets his new powers, and then he goes back to Ninjago with them for the final battle, and he's also the first of the ninja that gets corrupted, so he also doesn't get to participate in most of the fight, which is kind of sad. I even found out on this rewatch that the Earth Drill that we all know Cole for, especially because of the sets and all of that, he only drives it once in this season, as he drives it to the mountain, to the Temple of Light. And then the next time we see it, it's Nia who's driving it. So, like, why is this branded as a Cole vehicle? Probably because it's Earth-themed? I don't know. Yeah, Legacy of the Green Ninja kind of falls into a problem where there's nothing really prominent to note, but also there's nothing there that super offends me, so it also doesn't rank lower than it probably should. But that's just where I'm feeling currently on the season. It's fine, but, we have better coming up. Out of all of the Dragon's Rising seasons, which basically turned Cole into a side character instead of one of the main ninja, Season 3 really dropped the ball because Cole is really absent this season, as basically he spends most of his time off with his new buddies in the Land of Lost Things. We see him in a couple of flashbacks when Nia and Kai are thinking about their times with Jay, and the only other main thing that Cole really gets to do is that he has this whole side story where Wu shows him this buried source dragon and he needs to dig it out, but he can't. And this results in him starting to build a bond with Frack, who kind of is designed as Cole's mirror, because they're kind of doing that with Dragon's Rising, where each of the new ninja kind of mirrors one of the previous ninja. And Cole gets to form this really nice relationship with Frack, and eventually the two of them work together to dig up the source dragon. And then really shortly after that, they get attacked by the Dragonians, and Cole gets his soul sucked out, which results in him literally being absent from the final battle of the season. In fact, Cole doesn't even participate in the first battle of the season because he's off doing his own thing. Yeah, Season 3 is kind of the worst when it comes to the use of Cole, because he's just really absent through most of it, and it just results in a season where it kind of falls in the problem of there's not a lot to do with Cole when you only relegate him to like the last 10 episodes and even cut him from a couple of those 10 episodes. And yeah, again, this video is not supposed to be a look at runtime versus screen time, but at the same time, Cole can only do so much when he's only on screen for a certain number of episodes. And it kind of feels like Dragon's Rising Season 3 falls into the camp of it didn't do anything that super offended me, but it also didn't do enough with Cole to warrant it going any higher. So sorry, Dragon's Rising Season 3 fans. And now it's time for another one of my old arch rivals, Crystallized. Once again, we have the problem that pretty much none of the plot lines Cole gets involved in Crystallized are unique to him, because for the first part of the season, we have the whole arc where he's mourning Nia, but again, so is everybody, so this isn't really a plotline restricted to him. But I do kind of like that specifically for Cole, they kind of finally brought back that he was like the leader of the ninja team, that he was the anchor, and that he's the one who tries to get the ninja back together, which I do really like. And it kind of for like a finale, it kind of like they bring back that old aspect of the character. And then he goes on the mission to bring Nia back by breaking into Borg Industries. And then the ninja get arrested, and this just feels kind of this kind of feels lame. Like, we don't even get the funny bit about Cole eating the ninja's only way out. So, like, what was the point? And then the ninja escape prison, and they kind of just hang out for a while, where Cole kind of is just tagging along with Jay and Lloyd, and he doesn't get much individually to do. And then finally, when we get to the back half of the season, when the Crystal Council finally starts attacking, he gets paired up with Kai and Skylar, and they get to have a pretty interesting plot line, especially when the rest of the Resistance joins in. It's pretty cool seeing some pretty interesting fight sequences that I do really enjoy. And then Cole gets to unlock Dragon Form with the rest of the ninja, but again, the problem that I keep saying for most of these times when I have to cover Crystallized in one of these ninja ranking videos, it suffers from the problem that none of the plot lines this season are unique to just one ninja like other seasons. So it's really hard for me to always rank this season, because it's like, I don't hate these plot lines, but like, pretty much Cole shares all of his plot lines with the rest of the ninja in the first half and then Kai in the second half. So like, what am I supposed to do when I talk about those plot lines? Like, I don't understand. Again, it's the same issue. They didn't really do anything interesting with Cole this season, but they also didn't do anything that super offended me, so it could have been a whole lot worse if we're being honest. But at the same time, there is nothing really interesting to talk about, so it doesn't really get to rank any higher. Next up, we have Prime Empire, and this is another case very similar to some of the other videos I've ranked, including also talking about the Skybound in this video, is that we start the season off actually pretty interestingly, where Cole is with the rest of the ninja when they discover the Prime Empire disc and are trying to find the mystery of what happened to Jay. And then when they finally figure it out, Cole is actually the one who plays the Prime Empire game to get them inside of it. That I think is pretty cool and worth noting. And then Cole is present with everyone for the first half of the season when they're going up against the Red Dragon boss fight and Okino's little section, which is a pretty fun little bit, and I do like the whole stuff with Cole. And then after that, we get to the Speedway 5 billion, and Cole gets cubed. So there's really not, again, a lot to talk about. Cole is kind of just there until he gets cubed, but at least he gets to do some pretty fun stuff during the Red Dragon boss fight, and of course he gets them in the game in the first place. So again, this is a season that gets to do a lot with him. That doesn't do a lot with him, but it does interesting stuff to the point where it gets to rank decently higher, but it also doesn't warrant going, I think, any higher than where it is right now. Next up, we have Dragons Rising Season 1, and this is definitely one of those cases where really it's about what you do with a character versus how much screen time they get, because Cole is basically relegated to a single episode this season. Pretty much Cole's only real main use in Dragons Rising Season 1 is we see him in the first little opening montage when it's about what happened during the merge, and we see Cole fighting with the rest of the ninja. And then we eventually find him when we go to the Land of Lost Things for the first time, and we find out about his whole new group that he's built. That's pretty interesting. He gets his new powers with the giant earth mech monster thing, and his new dynamic with the rest of his friends. And then he kind of just stays in this one episode because at the very end of it, he meets the Wu apparition for the first time. And then that's all Cole gets for this entire season. Like, he's in basically one episode, and that's pretty much it. But this definitely is one of those cases where I do really like that one episode, and it definitely does some pretty cool things for Cole's character. But it definitely was the first case of, Cole being more of a side character for the spinoff. And it also just is one of those seasons that doesn't offend me, but it doesn't do anything super interesting, so it doesn't get to rank too much higher. But at the same time, it's not bad. I just think there's other seasons that use Cole better. And again, I don't want this to be a look at screen time versus using a character, but again, I've said this before, when you give a character more screen time, you get to do more with them. So yeah, Dragons Rising Season 1 can't go much higher, but I think it's fun for the most part. So, that's for what's that worth. Next up, we have Rise of the Snakes, the first season of the show. And overall, this was a pretty good use for the look of Cole, because this was back before Lloyd even existed. So Cole was always the de facto team leader, which is always great to see in a lot of the big fight sequences, coming up with the plans to beat villains. Like, it was really good for Cole being the main leader of the team, and that was always a lot of fun. this is another season where pretty much they gave the ninja specialized episodes for their true potential arcs. And I really do love Cole's focus episode. The Royal Blacksmith is a very good episode, really diving into Cole's backstory and really doing a great job at showing us what holds him back before allowing him to grow out of that and allow him to go forward. It's just a really great episode, meeting his dad, and of course having the ninja go on a talent show was a lot of fun. And overall, it's probably my favorite of the True Potential arcs during the season 1. And also, I really liked that. So I forgot to mention this in some of my previous videos, but they basically picked one ninja each to kind of show how the different serpentine powers worked. Where they had Kai do the Venomari, they had Jay show the Fangpires. Zane doesn't really get any of them though, because Cole ends up getting 2 focuses. He's the first ninja who gets hypnotized by the Hypnobrai, so he gets to show that power off. And then later, when him and Zane go to the Mountain of a Million Steps, Cole is also showcases how the Constricti's powers work, which I think is really interesting. And I mean, Zane technically is there, but yeah. So Cole is obviously pretty good this season, but it just suffers from the fact that there's just not a lot of individual plotline stuff. Like, it just comes to the fact that season 1 just didn't use him a ton apart from those couple things I've mentioned. So I don't really think it gets to rank any higher, but it definitely was pretty fun. And it's definitely one of the good uses of Cole back when he was the team leader. But other than that, I wish there was maybe some more personalized plot lines that maybe spanned the whole season. Because apart from Royal Blacksmith and then the couple times he gets shown the Serpentine powers, Cole is kind of just there for the ride and occasionally being the leader of the team. Other than that, he's pretty fine, but, that's all we can say really for Cole and Rise of the Snakes. He's pretty good, but, could have been better. Dragon's Rising Season 2 is definitely the best season in terms of using Cole's character because, well, he actually gets to be a damn character in this one. Shocking how that works. Pretty much the first half of the season entirely focuses on Cole's new dynamic with the Land of Lost Things crew. And it's really good to see Cole build a whole team, get to show some of that leadership aspects, which is cool. And of course, we get to see his relationship with Bonzel, who is kind of his main focus during this first half, kind of trying to protect her and then feeling a lot of guilt when he does eventually lose her. That's really fun. And then the second half of the season actually lets him participate in the Tournament of Sources with the other ninja, and we get to see some fun backstories. There get to be some fun battle sequences, especially with Frack. That was pretty cool. And then they also use him as an exposition vehicle to showcase this new cool Earth mech, which I'm pretty sure is just a front for them to sell more toys. And then also he gets to discover the portals and their magical teleporting portal gates, which is pretty cool. But other than that, Cole is just kind of the best at his best in Dragon's Rising Season 2 because he actually gets to be a character instead of just a side character. So that's why he gets to be high. But again, there's not really anything like specifically amazing that warrants him going any higher than where I have this right now. But it definitely is the best Dragon's Rising season for Cole, and I really hope that in the second half of season 4 of Dragon's Rising they can follow this instead of following what I really fear they're gonna do. Yeah, I'll be bold and say it. I really like Cole's use in Possession. He's a really fun character. He's pretty fun in this season, being very good. Although I do have to ask a question that propped up on this most recent rewatch once I was watching it through the lens of looking at how Cole is in each season. Why is he not the team leader? They spend these a whole couple episodes here in the first half basically doing this argument between the ninja about, who's going to be the team leader now that Lloyd is gone? Shouldn't it be Cole? Like, he was the team leader and then before Lloyd showed up and became the team leader. So like, why are they all fighting about who's the team leader? Like, shouldn't it just be, oh yeah, Lloyd's gone, Cole, you're second in line? Like, why did we spend I never realized that till this rewatch about that. Other than that, most people are aware of one of the main plot lines Cole goes through in Possession, which is of course him becoming a ghost, which I do really like that little plot line, kind of giving Cole this fun dynamic, tying it into the theme of the season. And we get to see some fun episodes where he's not really sure of his new state, and he kind of presents some new fears for the ninja because they also have to be afraid of using water because they have to use water to defeat the ghost, but they also can't hurt Cole, which I think is fun. I like that in the final battle, Cole gets a pretty sick bike. That's pretty cool. And overall, Cole is very fun in Possession with a lot of great elements. I just wish that he kind of had something more personal to do because while other ninja got more personal plot lines that season, Cole kind of is another case of him just getting dragged along for the journey, and he has the whole ghost thing going on eventually. But other than that, it's definitely a pretty good use of Cole that does a lot right for the character. I just think I wanted something a little more personal for him, I think. Next up, we have Day of the Departed, finally coming in not low on one of these rankings. I'm kind of shocked, and it's still not even in the top 5. I'm kind of gonna be honest with you guys, if this special couldn't even make it into the top 5 when I'm ranking the seasons based on how they use Cole, this special is pretty much cooked throughout every single one of these rankings going forward. Because if it doesn't do good with Cole, then it pretty much is gonna do nothing else. Anyway, it's a pretty decent special that is focused on Cole being a whole spooky special about how he accidentally, while fighting Sensei Yang, releases the spirits of the previous villains of the show, and the other ninja have to fight him, and Cole gets to fight Sensei Yang, which I do think is, again, a case of a ninja fighting a villain they actually have business fighting. I like the whole backstory they go for, and the special ends with a pretty cool fight sequence that results in Cole going through this rift and him becoming human again, which I've always wondered why they kind of gave up on that plotline so quickly, because like they just had him be a ghost for like a season and a half, and they're just getting rid of it. Like, did they realize they wrote themselves into a corner or something when they were writing Skybound or trying to write season 7? So they just said, we need a special to get rid of Cole's ghost powers. Like, I've never wondered that, but it just came up on this rewatch. Other than that, I really did enjoy Day of the Departed. It definitely is a good use of Cole, but I guess I wanted more from the character, and we're going to see more going forward. So yeah, Day of the Departed, sorry you couldn't rank high when I'm ranking the seasons based on Cole, and I'm sorry you're pretty much cooked throughout every single one of these future videos. I'm so sorry. Next up, we have Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu. And this is definitely one of those cases where the front half of the season is not great in its use of Cole. Of course, they have the whole running bit where the ninja are getting lazy after their previous victories, and it results in them all being a little more childish. And Cole gets to basically have this guzzler that he's constantly raving about throughout half the season. And then after they accidentally release a Sphera, Cole gets to be part of what I'm calling the monastery team, which is basically Kai, Jay, and Wu at the monastery trying to fend off a Sphera while the others find the second Forbidden Scroll. That's pretty cool. And that's kind of all it was for Cole in the first half. But it definitely picks up once we get to that back half, because once we get to the Never Realm, there is so much going for the use of Cole. First, they have this whole side story about how Cole loses the Traveler's Tea they think they need to get home, even though we, the audience, know that there literally was no way that tea was going to work. So honestly, it kind of just helps that they lost it, because it means they actually were looking for another way to get home. And it results in Cole being the one who does this, and he goes up to the mountain to get more Traveler's Tea to get home, and this results in him getting united with Crag, through Crag, who is a very fun and honestly really depressing character, and I really love Cole's interactions with him. It makes for a very fun side piece of the story that comes in the finale, which is great. Other than that, though, Cole doesn't get a whole lot more to do. He gets some fun plot lines with Kai, but other than that, I think mainly it's just the Neverrealm stuff is just so solid when it comes to Cole that it gets to rank high, and also kind of the main reason why I didn't include Dragon's Rise Season 4 in this video, because like there's a solid chance the back half of that season could end up being like this season, and in turn, I wouldn't know that, and I would have ranked the season low, and I would have hated myself in a couple months when the next episode's released. But anyway, Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu was a very fun season in the use of Cole, and overall, it's just overall a very good season, and it's worthy of being as high on the list as it is. So there you go. The pilots are very good in their use of Cole, I may dare say. Cole doesn't show up throughout pretty much the early pieces of the pilots, as he's basically just there to be part of Kai's final test, which at the end of the first episode, which is basically his only use there, and it's pretty cool to see him there. And then after that, we do get some fun stuff, as we also get to see Cole's backstory in this season, which is pretty great. He gets to be the de facto team leader, which is always fun, especially when the ninja gets separated. That's pretty great. He is the one ninja we get to see pretty heavily when we go after his golden weapon, so that's also fun. I love the side story they give him about being afraid of dragons and learning to overcome that fear, which is pretty cool. Other than that, though, Cole gets to be there as part of the team, and he gets a lot of focus, especially because this is the pilots. We got to set up all the characters, so pretty much all of the ninja got pretty heavy screen time, and it was pretty epic. And overall, Cole gets to rank pretty high when it comes to ranking him based on the pilots, because he's just really fun. He's used well, and unlike the other season where either we fall off in the terms of Cole, this season does well for that, but also, I guess, again, I wanted something more personal, so it doesn't really get to rank super highly, but higher than this, but I'd say this is a pretty good showing for the pilots, all things considered. Next up, we have Sons of Garmadon. And Sons of Garmadon is really good in its use of Cole because they do a lot of work to pair him up with Wu. Not only the baby, but also the memory. We get to see a lot of focus episodes this season where we specifically focus on Cole's backstory about he was Wu's first student, his relationship he builds with Wu, and then he gets to reignite that with baby Wu and gets to kind of train him and all that. It's very fun. And it's really good use to see that side of Cole kind of finally getting back to, again, that kind of leadership quality that we all love from him, which is pretty good. And it overall was a very good dynamic. I love that they did the whole thing where he is one of the ninja that infiltrate the Sons of Garmadon gang, which is pretty cool, as the Rocky Danger buff disguise, which is pretty cool. He gets to have some fun fight sequences with the other ninja, and he gets stuck in the first room at the very end, which means that there isn't a ton, but the fact that there's so much this season in terms of using Cole's relationship with Wu as kind of a backbone, it means I kind of had to rank this season pretty highly, because I really do love that dynamic, and it makes for a very, very fun season, and honestly one of the best uses of Cole we had had in years when this season first released. And following pretty closely in heels is gonna go to Hunted. Mainly just because Sons of Garmadon and Hunted are very well connected in their overall use of Cole, because Cole once again gets to have this pretty great dynamic with Wu, and now that Wu is of course starting to grow up into a kid and eventually a teenager, Cole gets to have a pretty good relationship with his former master, getting to train him and all this stuff, and it's really great to see Cole kind of try to sass little Wu and give him some of his own knowledge, which is pretty fun. They also have the fun side plot where after all the other ninja get captured, Cole and Little Wu, now disguised in Rocky Danger buff disguises, get to infiltrate the Dragon Hunter camp and get to help the other ninja escape, which is a pretty fun couple episode run when they're disguised, which I liked. They have some pretty good moments after the fact of the two of them getting a great dynamic, the rest of the team. And then, of course, when we do eventually make it back to Ninjago, Cole gets to help take down the Colossus, which is pretty cool. But other than that, I think this season mainly just gets to rank highly because I love that Wu Cole dynamic. And I do really think it's a great use of not only Cole, but also Wu. And overall, it creates a very fun season. It just is unfortunately not any higher than this because, well, there's just two other seasons I think are just even better. So I'm honestly shocked to report that I really loved Cole's use in Tournament of Elements on my most recent rewatch. I just think he is so well used this season, as this season starts off with Cole being a lumberjack in the first episode as his kind of way to get away from the ninja team after Zane's disappearance, but the reason he gives is the fact that he's mad at Jay still because of the stupid love triangle, which is not great, but whatever. And then the team gets back together and they officially get to move on to the tournament, which is pretty cool. I love the first half of this little tournament arc where also Cole gets to be the one who discovers the underground secret lair and gets to work that all out. And then we also get the fight sequence between Jay and Cole. That's a pretty great fight sequence, and it means we finally pull Cole out of this stupid love triangle. And unfortunately, Jay and Nia still have some love quarrels going for a few more seasons, but Cole is officially removed from it, which is great. And then this is really where the season picks up, because Cole gets a full dedicated half of the story to be by himself, as we see him now stuck in the underground lair with the rest of the tournament elemental masters. He eventually is able to discover Zane as he discovers Zane one day, and he decides he's going to break him out, so he gets to escape the factory with this pretty cool little fight sequence that I do really love. He reunites with Zane, and they're going to try to escape, but then we get a really good use of Cole's character, showing that how he has the empathy for others, and also his natural leadership role as he decides when Zane and him are just about to escape that Cole is going to go back to help the other elemental masters. And then we get to see this really fun little arc where Cole runs this little rebellion inside the factory that eventually results in them building the rotojet that allows them to escape. And then after that, Cole gets to be a part of the actual, when they return to the mainland, fighting the rest of the Anachondri and all of that. But overall, I loved Cole's use in Tournament of Elements, as he kind of just gets this full half of the story to himself, which I really love. Like, obviously Zane is there, but like, he's more of a side character in Cole's story, which means that I really loved Cole's arc throughout Tournament of Elements. It's a really great use of, especially because Lloyd is around, as if he's going to be the team leader for the ninja, we might as well give Cole something fun to do, so why not make him the leader of a little rebellion? Why not? And the fact that he's able to bring all these teams together also made it more believable for me when he brought the Land of Lost Things team together. So anyway, it's a really fun arc. I love Tournament of Elements, but it just was never going to make first place because Master of the Mountain exists. And I'm pretty sure anybody and everybody who knows Ninjago pretty much knew this was going to be number one when you clicked on this video. This is easily Cole's best season because not only is it Cole focused, but it also gives so much for him to do. Of course, we start off pretty slow this season, as he's just one of the ninja that goes to Shintaro for the birthday party. He gets to have this kind of lovey relationship with Princess Vanya. And then after we go into the back half of the season, when all the ninja get separated, we get this great story involving Cole, where we get to see his backstory as he learns about his mother and how she was this great warrior. And we get to see some really good backstory elements for Cole. We see this really fun story where after he is cast into the depths by the king, he forms the Upply, this sad little group that has basically lost all hope, and he's able to lead them to victory, again making it more believable for me when he formed the Land of Lost Things team. And we also get this great relationship with Wu again, where Wu gets to be a side character in Cole's story as Wu is starting to feel down, like the ninja don't need him anymore. And Cole, Wu's first ninja student, I should say, brings him up and shows him the power that he has. And then Cole gets the whole side of the story where once he returns to fight the Skull Sorcerer, he gets this whole final battle with him and eventually is able to pull out the Spinjitzu burst. And overall, Master of the Mountain is one of the greatest seasons in terms of using Cole's character. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, if any of you knew Ninjago going into this video, you pretty much knew right off the bat this was going to be number one. So sorry to make the video obvious, but I mean, this is the best season in terms of using Cole, and I think that's probably not even a hot take. So there you guys have it. My ranking of all 21 Ninjago seasons based on how they use the character of Cole. Overall, this video was a very fun one. Once again, Cole is kind of the perfect middle line between the main character energy that Kai and Lloyd emulate and the side character that Jay is usually relegated to. So, I mean, let me know down in the comments, how would you rank the seasons based on using Cole if you wanted to? And if that's a little difficult, just tell me what some of your least favorites are and maybe what some of your favorites are. And let me know what ninja you guys want me to do next. I'm thinking I might finish the main 4 ninja and do Zane next. And then after that, we can talk about doing Lloyd or Nia. And other than that, this video was a lot of fun, and I'm going to end this video by giving you a quick moment of silence for Kirby Morrow, the excellent voice actor for Cole. May he rest in peace. And without further ado, thank you guys all very much for watching this video. I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.